Okay, we're back on for a moment. I just wanted to read out some of these fast facts, flash facts, I guess fast facts. The human brain is approximately 80% water. Girls' brains account for 2.5% of the body weight. Boys' brains account for 2%. That makes sense. I'm looking for any more fast facts that we've missed while we're waiting for Richard. Then we're going to take a break, but I want to see if there are any more fast facts to give you. And I think I saw some coming through. Yeah, right here. The heart is a muscle that pumps blood to every part of the body. Each half has two chambers, an upper atrium and a lower ventricle. The atria are openings through which the blood flows into the ventricles. Once filled with blood, the ventricles contract, forcing blood out of the heart. The heart's more muscular left ventricle pumps blood to the far reaches of the body. The right ventricle pumps blood a shorter distance to the lungs. And then the thump sound you hear in a heartbeat is the sound of the heart valves closing. First, the valves of the atria close. A split second later, the ventricles valves shut. The heart murmur sounds different, less rhythmic, and more turbulent. Another didactic of it, the specimens in this gallery were prepared using a technique known as corrosion casting. I think we did this, but we'll do it again. The blood vessels were first injected with a colored polymer, which then hardened. The remaining body tissue was then chemically removed, revealing the delicate matrix that transports our blood. Let's cut tape. You're listening to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Mosman. Cut tape. We're back on tape, and the gallery is filling here. People coming through, looking at the different exhibits. We're back with Richard.
Inohosa.
I'm going to get Inohosa.
Go get it, sir.
I was just telling Richard that we we went up by ourselves and got into the area with the children, the fetuses,
yes.
And you're asked to make sure you know what you're coming into. If you don't choose to go in, you can pass it by. It's quite an interesting aspect to this the exhibition. And all those fetuses we were looking at are real.
Yeah, they're all real. They're all donated by their expecting mothers. They were all, they all miscarried, died in utero. So the university where our preservation laboratory is I think they also have a hospital there. And some of the young mothers come there, and they've donated them to the process there.
And they're recruited to donate in this case? I mean,
No, they weren't recruited.
I mean, not recruited, but how did they come to know to do this?
Oh, I'm not real sure exactly how they did.
Yeah, I don't mean to say recruited like.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. They were probably asked, I would imagine, at some point, and they said, "Well, would you like to donate your?" Would you like to donate that to this process since you're here? Kind of thing, I would think.
And it's, of course, a donation.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in the children's area here.
Yes. Second to the last gallery we have in here. I think it's one of our most interesting galleries. You can look at the development of a fetus from the size of your, no bigger than your pinky nail, really, and all the way up into a full-size fetus.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see this. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of like canisters.
Up to the 8th week here. You look at a fetus at the 8th week of development.
Seems white.
Mm-hmm.
And
now I look over here. This is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, we looked at this.
Yeah. Now you see this guy just barely starting to form just a little bit of skin, you see. Okay, he looks, I think maybe he has, he's going to need some maintenance. Let's move to this guy.
Okay. And how many weeks was that?
That is the 10 weeks?
10 weeks, okay.
10 weeks. And here's our 12 weeks. Now you see how they did the dye on the bones here? So you can see where the bones are going to fuse together.
And these are miscarriages here. Okay?
Oh, there is? Yes.
Okay, there's a
I'm going to go real quick,
I'll be
back soon.
I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
I know you got to move along, and thank you for and I'll wait for you in the office, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, let's cut tape to Listening to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I am your host and fellow traveler, Herb Mossman. Let's cut tape. Okay, we're back on. We're in the main room right now where we came through, coming up to the exhibit over there. There are people just milling everywhere, a couple of school groups. It looks like there are a couple of school groups. I may try to get a little close just to, not to get any of the narrative, but I want to get an idea of what's going on. That looks like it's just a regular, kind of, I don't know if that's an organized group or not, but there is a more organized group over here. So we're going to kind of move around over here and kind of eavesdrop just a bit to hear what's going on without getting in the middle of anything. So we're moving along at the railing, and let's kind of listen to this for a little bit and see what's happening without getting in the middle of anything.
Pardon like that, they're not permanently reserved. They'll never decompose and never break down. That's how it's done. Now, as you're going through, if you see anyone in a white lab coat, it means they are a medical professional volunteer. So they're actually doctors, nurses, medical students, you name it. They come in on their own time to answer questions for you. If you don't see anyone yet this morning, there's at that interactive desk at the end, I can answer all your questions for you. Otherwise, beyond that, my name's Lindsay again. Just tell anyone on staff. I'd be more than happy to come over and help you out. Now, the last thing I do need to share with you is probably the most important, so really make sure you listen up. And that is, again, to remind you, all of these people were actually human beings who roam this earth. So the fact that you're about to walk in right now and be able to understand, appreciate, see your body in a whole new way, understand diseases that affect our loved ones, people in our community, means that these individuals deserve the utmost level of respect. So from the minute you walk in, remind yourselves of that. Okay? So that includes things like keeping the volume of your voice down to practically a whisper.
Okay, we see Richard coming around again. Hey, Richard.
What I do all day long. This is my colleague Lindsay, who gives the same speech that I do to kids over there. I'll be doing the same thing over there, and these guys are over here. The last of this large was about 180 kids who came in from this one school today.
Oh, so these are two different groups from the same school?
Yes, yes.
Do we know what school?
Division Avenue School is called.
Okay. I was growing up, all schools were numbered. Now it's all names.
Yeah, a lot of them still have numbers now, believe me. Half the schools we get are still PS, whatever, you know. But even the PSs still have some sort of a name to it, you know.
Now, do you pick up one of these groups now? Is that what's going on?
Yes, I'm going to move this next group over here, and we'll do the same briefing thing with them.
Okay. And how much more time do we need?
Well, this is it.
I did want to take a look at this huge, it looked like an 8-foot guy off in cross sections.
Oh, yes,
You know
yes.
what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a phone number yet? I think
Yeah, it
we do.
was 8889 Bodies, I believe, is
Okay, there you go.
the number for the tickets.
Okay, we are going to finish. We're going past the gift shop over here. Audio tours. There are audio tours here.
You can buy some audio tours here. Let me set something up real quick, and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm looking over here. Audio tours. If you care to buy the audio tour, enhance your visit with a pre-recorded self-guided tour. Adults and children's versions available. English only. So there's a rental of $6. So you can only rent here. You can't actually buy a tour. So I guess the only place you can get a tour is the tour here. Again, folks, visitors to libraries for the blind and physically handicapped overseas. These programs are not going to any libraries within the United States. They, as I understand, they're going to only foreign libraries as part of the Library of Congress National Library Service for the blind and physically handicapped. It is a donation from me to you folks. I hope you enjoy it and are informed by it. And so that's what's happening. So you are the only folks getting these pieces. My thanks go out to James Herndon and all the really good folks at the National Library Service for the blind and physically handicapped for making this available to you. Okay, so that's the deal. Again, you just heard from Rich. There's a room I really want to check out, and then we'll sign off and close out this piece. Rich is going back and forth. Are we going into that room now?
Yeah, I'm going to show you.
Okay, there's one we want to see.
The one that you're talking about, the guy who's cut into I don't even know how many sections, is supposed to be a physical representation of an MRI scan. Okay, so what it is it's an MRI scan will take a picture of a slice like this, slice, put it all together. So that's what you're looking at here, the physical representation of MRI scan. This is a treated body room, so you'll see a guy over here with a lot of prosthesis over here. You'll see this guy over here is the physical representation.
From left to right, we're looking at, I don't know how this, it looks like cuts of meat. It looks like lamb chops or what's not lamb chops.
Well, it kind of looks like prosciutto to me.
Prosciutto. Well, what I get lamb chops. And this person was a smoker as well.
You can see he was a pretty heavy smoker.
And this is all sectioned off like this, and you're looking at the black lungs.
Yes.
And his cross sections as you go further up the body, because of course it becomes more darker. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 sections going across widthwise. It's in 5 sections, and holy moly! Okay, it all looks like cuts of meat.
Yeah. Now you can see this guy was a smoker also. And this is a really amazing section. This guy's
1,
cut
2,
into 8
3,
pieces, I
4,
think.
5, 6, 7.
7, yes.
Holy cow! Holy moly! It's just an extraordinary look at, and the brain, 3 sections from right to left. We're looking at by the 4th section where his mouth, his nose, and you see the brain there, and then the brain slice, and wow.
Yeah, this is amazing. This is an amazing view.
Yeah.
Now this is one of the only other ones that we have the skin on. Okay. We even have an example of a tattoo that's been cut out over here. You see this?
Whose tattoo?
I don't know. Somebody's.
That's a tattoo. Reminds me of Silence of the Lambs all of a sudden.
This guy is actually Da Vinci Man. We have this guy in all of our exhibits. The same one of the
Inside and out.
Inside and out, and he's this position is in all of our exhibits. We have 6 of these around the world.
So this is the skin, but he's not all skin. There are sections of it, like from the
just like little
ankle
straps. Yeah.
strap. They look like straps of white, skin white, and they're sectioned off. And you look, there's one through the navel. It looks like about 2.5 inches high. This strap over here. Then you get to the breasts, the breast over here, the chest, I guess. It looks like about 3 inches in height altogether. And then he's wearing sort of like a neck. He's got one around his neck, but it's sort of like a collar.
Yeah.
And then along the arms, sectioned up. So you're seeing the body, and you're also seeing examples of the skin. You're looking at the kidney again. Okay.
Kidney's right here.
The kidney's right there. And what is that?
That's going to be your stomach.
The stomach. And yeah. I can see what Lindsay was talking about, trying to be respectful. These are real people. These are humans. I can see this. It's especially, maybe it's a nervous thing, even with adults.
Oh,
even
sure.
with adults, you see this, and there's a nervous. The images you're looking at are.
No, absolutely. I mean, we try to keep people from making inappropriate comments. Obviously, we want to have a certain amount of respect. The exhibit, we've always said, just lends itself to a quiet and respectful viewing. So we keep people off cell phones. There's no photography, things like that. We try to keep everybody as respectful as possible here.
Right.
While we're in here.
And this person is a discus thrower.
Yeah.
But
now, this is an example of some of the prosthesis that are used by medical science. You have here a jaw brace. You have a plate in your head. These other kind of different kinds of braces here. Here you have a prosthetic hip joint here. He also has a prosthetic knee. So he has a titanium knee also. Come around to this other side real quick. You'll see the examples of some of the medical spreaders that they'll use when they operate. So this will be something that they might work on the spinal cord injury. Here's something that they might work on, maybe a leg injury. They want to hold the muscles open or hold something open in order to operate.
Right. What would that be called?
It's a spreader.
A spreader. Yeah. Well, okay. There you go.
Simple enough.
Okay. I guess we're going to finish up here. Is that what we're doing?
We're just about done.
Let's read off some of this.
Let me bring you over here. This is something that I think a lot of people always have, an interesting reaction to. There's a couple of things, and actually we missed it in this other gallery, but this one's pretty interesting. These 3 cases have some examples of a few diseases and pathologies. elephantitis. You can see this guy with the enlarged thumb.
Elephant man or elephantitis, right? To not, that's the flip. Elephant man button, okay. And then the abnormal thumb, used thumb.
Here's an example of Parkinson's over here.
Disorder of the nervous system. Okay.
Colon cancer
Osteogenic.
here. You can see the colon cancer here. There's some quite scary things. Actually, what we missed in that other gallery was, and I'm surprised it's not over here, but there's a tumor called a teratoma tumor. And it's a tumor that is actually, it grows like, it almost has like these kind of stem cells, these cells in them that can mutate very easily. So it's a tumor that actually grows hair and teeth and things like that. And they have an example over there, one that has a couple of molars in it and some hair.
Can we get over there, or we're right at time?
Well, yeah, it's something that you...
Okay, leave something to...
I never want to see.
Really? Is that...
Well, it's kind of gross, but that's not that bad. But
so we can't say that?
No, sure, we can if you like to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Okay. Then we'll finish up over here because I want to do the preservation thing and how that works.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish up.
But yeah, we'll just take a look at this real quick, and I'll show you because we need to wrap up, and I need to go deal with some groups. But this is what I'm talking about. That's the teratoma tumor. You see the teeth and the hair.
Teeth, wow. And these are human teeth.
Yeah. And they'll just grow apparently somewhere else in the body. Yeah.
And the
They
teeth
grow fingernails too. Yeah.
And why is that? Do you know?
Well,
That's the body.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Explain it. Okay, and there's an ovarian cyst, and what is this called? The teratoma.
Teratoma tumor. Now over here, like we missed this right here. This is an extreme example of cancer of the penis. This is due to some pretty extreme unhygienic conditions. This guy. You can't even see it anymore.
Right there.
This right here.
This right here, yeah. I was thinking
you can't even see it anymore. You know what I mean?
It's just a mass.
Yeah.
It's a mass.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Okay.
I just wanted you to see those things because
Yeah.
there were some of the things that a lot of people were like, "Whoa, that was that was quite eye-opening."
Okay, I think we did this one over here, but I did want to read some didactic off the wall here.
Oh, there's one. There's a really great one that's behind over here.
Is this the one I was going to go for? Oh, no.
This is the one that has the whole preservation process kind of.
Okay, I'm going to do 1 through 4, and then you can do 5 through 7. I'll do 1 through 3. The process of polymer preservation, a human specimen is temporarily preserved to stop decay. The specimen is dissected to feature specific systems and structures. Number 3, the dissection is immersed in acetone to evacuate all body water. Dehydrated, the specimen is placed in a silicone polymer bath and sealed in a vacuum chamber. That's number 4. Number 5 is with the erasure.
Number 5 is under vacuum pressure. Basically, they're going to put this body into a vacuum chamber in a pool of liquid silicone rubber. Now, once they evacuate the air, the acetone literally starts to boil off. It leaves the body in a gas form, and it is replaced by the silicone polymer. In other words, when the acetone is leaving the body, it actually leaves a space, and then the liquid silicone goes in and replaces that space, fills that space that's left empty by the acetone evacuating. Okay. The silicone polymer is hardened by curing. In other words, they put an agent in it to make the polymer turn into rubber, turn hard, okay? And then the preservation, they're permanently preserved, you know what I mean? These structures are preserved intact for examination and study. Now, as far as when you see some of these positions, something that's not on there, like when you see these guys in the positions that they're in, they will actually use a system of ropes and pulleys while they're drying. So for the Da Vinci Man, for example, I'm sure they had his arms, tied up like that, so that while he's curing, while he's drying, he'll dry in that position, and then once they untie the ropes, he's hardened in that position. So that's how you see that kind of final step.
And disease is part of life, so is our desire to overcome it. Guided by the continued study of human anatomy, physicians and medical researchers are developing new techniques, instruments, and medications to address the most pressing health issues of the day. And I suppose that's a good place to end the tour. Would that be right? Okay. That's the final didactic and a very important aspect of what we've been looking at. Look, things we can touch.
Yeah.
Is this real?
These are all real.
We're touching a real brain?
Touching a real brain.
And we're touching a real, is that a heart?
Uh-huh.
This is a real, and it feels like it's almost living as we...
Yeah,
And
a
this
little
is
waxy, a little rubbery.
And what is this?
This is a tibia.
Tibia. And this again is what?
This is your liver.
Liver. And what's the sensation I'm feeling? What is that?
Well, it's going to be a little hardened because, of course, it's going to be the rubber has been cured and been hardened, just like I was telling you about.
Right.
It's going to feel a little bit kind of waxy, rubbery, plasticky, of course, because of the polymer that they're using. But otherwise, normally out of the brain right out of the body is going to feel sort of like a spongy jello, so it's going to be a little bit different. Your liver, of course, is going to be a lot softer than this and different color and things like that.
And female brains are larger than male brains.
I don't know. I agree with that one. Yeah. Well, I'll just
My
go with
daughter proves it. So okay, we're going to finish up over here, and we're ask me. Okay, thank you. We're going to finish up over here. Rich, should we have some closing thoughts now? Would you like to say something in closing?
Well, no, I'm glad you came out, Herb. I think this is one of those kind of exhibitions that is very unique. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Before now, most of the things that you'll see in here were only available to medical students, and now it's available to the public. So coming down and see it.
Okay. And the address again is 11 Fulton Street and South Street, Seaport, right above the Gap and right across the street from the body shop, so it works out fine. We have been with Richard
Hinojosa.
Richard, thank you very much. You've been a great guide. Folks, we're going to shut tape right now. You can listen to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Malzman. It's been great being here at the exhibition. And how much longer is it going to be here, by the way?
We're going through the end of 2007.
Okay, through 2007. So if you come to town, come on down, and you've got the information here. We're going to shut tape right now. Again, this has been Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Malzman. Enjoy your day. Okay, we're back on for a moment. I just wanted to read out some of these fast facts, flash facts, fast facts. The human brain is approximately 80% water. Girls' brains account for 2.5% of the body weight. Boys' brains account for 2%. That makes sense. I'm looking for any more fast facts that we've missed while we're waiting for Richard. Then we're going to take a break, but I want to see if there are any more fast facts to give you. And I think I saw some coming through. Yeah, right here. The heart is a muscle that pumps blood to every part of the body. Each half has two chambers, an upper atrium and a lower ventricle. The atria are openings through which the blood flows into the ventricles. Once filled with blood, the ventricles contract and move, revealing the delicate matrix that transports our blood. Let's cut tape. You're listening to Visions, a series of visits to almost everywhere. I'm your host and fellow traveler, Herb Malzman. Cut tape. We're back on tape, and the gallery is filling here. People coming through, looking at the different exhibits. We're back with Richard.
Hinojosa.
I'm going to get Hinojosa.
You'll get it too.
I was just telling Richard that we went up by ourselves and got into the area with the children, the fetus forcing blood out of the heart. The heart's more muscular left ventricle pumps blood to the far reaches of the body. The right ventricle pumps blood a shorter distance to the lungs. And then the thump sound you hear in a heartbeat is the sound of the heart valves closing. First, the valves of the atria close. A split second later, the ventricles valve shut. The heart murmur sounds different, less rhythmic, and more turbulent. Another didactic of it, the specimens in this gallery were prepared using a technique known as corrosion casting. I think we did this, but we'll do it again. The blood vessels were first injected with a colored polymer, which then hardened. The remaining body tissue was then chemically cleansed, and you're asked to, make sure you know what you're coming into. If you don't choose to go in, you can pass it by. It's quite an interesting aspect of this, the exhibition. And all those fetuses we were looking at are real.
Yeah, they're all real. They're all donated by their expecting mothers. They were all, they all miscarried, died in utero. So the university where our preservation laboratory is, I think they also have a hospital there. And some of the young mothers come there, and they've donated them to the process there.
And they're recruited to donate in this case? I mean,
No, they weren't recruited.
Not recruited, but how did they come to know to do this?
Oh, I'm not real sure exactly how they did.
Yeah, I don't mean to say recruited, like.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. They were probably asked, I would imagine, at some point, and they said, well, would you like to donate your, would you like to donate that to this process since you're here? And
Right.
I would think,
And it's, of course, a donation.
yes.
Okay, we're back in the
Yes.
children's area here.
Yes, yes. Second to the last gallery we have in here. I think it's one of our most interesting galleries. You can look at the development of a fetus from the size of your, no bigger than your pinky nail, really, and all the way up into a full-size fetus.
Oh, sorry, I didn't